We're going. All right, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to the TD Podcast. We are your hosts, Tony and Dak, and on today's episode, we are going to be going through Week 5 and a quick recap through a couple of games, questions, injuries, and, of course, our power rankings to wrap up the video. But before we get into all of that, we got some headlines and injuries to get into, so, Dak, why don't you kick it off with some of your headlines?
Yeah, the Saints got their first win of the year as the Giants and Jackson Dart dropped the ball. Not as bad as the Cardinals dropped the ball.
Not nearly as bad.
And with the Titans. Jets are the only 0-5 team as they got mollywopped by the Cowboys. Colts killed the Raiders, as you get to talk about later on. And the Colts are the number 1 seed in the AFC right now. You know, in the AFC, the Bills or the Chiefs, as both of those teams lost this week. Bills get upset by the Stephon Diggs revenge game. That's going to be pretty interesting to talk about. Breaking news as we today, as this video is going out.
As his connection goes out. Okay, here we go.
The only third time since 2001 that a quarterback has been traded in the division to another team. Can you name the other two?
Hold on, run that by me again? Yeah, I don't think I could anyway.
So there's only been 2 other quarterbacks that have been traded in division since 2001.
So there's 2 more since 2001?
Yes, there's 2 more other than Joe Flacco.
Yeah, no, it's a crapshoot. I don't have that much ball knowledge.
I was on the tip of my tongue.
You don't even have it ready? Oh my gosh. That's podcasting 101. As you can see, we're still in the beginning clap phase.
Injuries can be becoming a big thing in the NFL. But it's not stopping the 49ers as they took down the Rams on Thursday Night Football, prime time. Mac Jones got it done, and I'm happy. I'm a happy camper.
Yeah, so more about these injuries. I've noticed that I've come to the conclusion that I should focus more on the household names. And with that being said, this will be the last time I don't only focus on household names because there are some key players that were injured that do have a big impact on the game. So we have Kyler Murray with a foot injury. He did end up coming back, but that's something to keep an eye on. Matt Milano had a pectoral injury. Spencer Schrader, the first non-household name, because if you don't know who Matt Milano is, it's a good thing you're watching this podcast because you need to know all. Spencer Schrader, a kicker for the Colts, knee injury. He's hurt.
You see what I'm talking about? The Matt Milano guy stole the ball, ran all the way up to the stands. Now you saw that on Sunday Night Football.
What? I'm going to keep it a buck. Your webcam is cutting in and out a lot. So if you're making motions and stuff, then that's not getting caught. Anyways,
don't figure that one out.
AJ Cole also had an ankle injury. One of the best punters in the league. Could be seeing the bench for a little bit. Omarion Hampton had an ankle injury. The Trey Pipkins had a knee injury. Mekhi Becton had a hand injury. All left and did not return to the Chargers game. Justin Reed has a concussion, safety for the Saints. Landon Dickerson had an ankle injury and did not return. And then, so it looks like Spencer Schrader is done for the year, actually.
Yes,
so there you go.
Done for the year. The Colts actually picked up a guy that was a kicker for the Colts in 2021 who didn't miss a PAT. He was 39 for 39.
Who?
It was like 81.2%.
Because I was watching Rodrigo Blankenship. I was watching his TikTok live yesterday, and he said he wanted he was open
Michael Badgley.
Oh, Michael Badgley. No, I was watching Rodrigo Blankenship's TikTok live last night, and he was building Legos and talking about how he's waiting for somebody to offer him a contract. But
don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately.
And then we have an Antonio Gibson torn ACL. I don't think that has a big impact on the landscape of anything, but it could mean that Travion Henderson sees the field more, or that Ramondre Stevenson sees the field more. Both of those have fantasy football implications. Now we are back to Dak with some questions that he has for me to answer
Yeah,
and see what I got.
yeah. I'm gonna get back to that question because the question I gave you earlier. I'm gonna figure that out. Because that actually gonna make me mad because it was on the tip of my tongue and I knew it and I just completely forgot as we come on air. But my first question for you is, um, are we seeing torn ACLs and torn Achilles and season ending injuries? Are we just grown to be seeing those every single week? Like, those type of injuries. I think we're becoming to seeing more and more and more each week. Is it just becoming the norm?
Yeah, I don't. Obviously, I'm no doctor. I wouldn't probably wouldn't have a podcast if I was a doctor, but I don't feel like this should be normal. I feel like it goes back to the turf situation that Odell's mentioned before, and a bunch of other players have mentioned. Because I don't remember this being much of a prevalent injury like in the 2000s. You know, like it was more of people getting smoked. Now, it could be that because these players are just so fast and athletic that they're trying to cut too fast in the turf, right? Because while soccer players play on the turf, they're not trying to make these sporadic motions as much as football players, and they also don't weigh as much as football players do, right? So those could both be things that um, go into the amount of injuries with the knees and the feet and all that stuff. I do think it's a problem that the NFL needs to figure out because these injuries cause one, players to be out for a long time. Two, well, with those players going out for a long time, it decreases ticket sales, which I know the NFL doesn't like that.
No,
Three,
no. It's a entertainment business for a reason.
we need to care for these players because if they come back and they don't come back the same, you just lost out on somebody who could have been an all-time great because
Yeah,
the NFL is lackadaisical with stuff when they actually shouldn't be. So,
yeah. It's definitely something for me. It's like I want to monitor because I'm seeing big name players go out all the time. I mean, just from the 49ers perspective, I mean, it just seems like it just keeps happening every
Niners
single
are
week
always
where we
hurt
have
though,
another injury.
every
And
year.
it's been rough to watch. And you know, I I obviously we can't change anything, but it's just definitely like it's like whoa, like injuries, torn ACLs, it's happening every single week, and it's just rough to watch. My second question to you is obviously the Flacco trade. Um, what are your thoughts on the Flacco trade? Do you think he even plays this week?
I don't know that he plays this week. I wouldn't be surprised because we saw Baker Mayfield play the next day and still whoop on the Raiders a couple years
48,
ago.
48 hours.
48 hours exactly. And now Joe Flacco's got a whole week. He's played a lot of football. Um, Now, how does that impact the other players? How does that impact the receivers and stuff? I would think that they're better off now because Joe Flacco is, while he does have his woes, he is still a decent quarterback, at least better than Jake Browning. Joe Flacco on his worst day is better than Jake Browning on his best, I would say. Granted, the Bengals now have two of the quarterbacks with the most interceptions thrown in the NFL. Um, so I don't know. Maybe with Joe Flacco getting better receivers, maybe that decreases the amount of interceptions he throws.
He's definitely got good receivers out there and good skill position
Yeah,
players. I mean,
maybe
he's
the
got
Bengals receivers make him better. I mean, shoot, I would take T. Higgins and Jamar Chase over Cedric Tillman and Jerry Judy any day of the week.
every day of the week. Every day of the
So
week.
I think it could be good. I'm hoping that it's better for the entirety of the Bengals franchise. They're now it's not going to help the defense because it still stinks, but offense should
Yeah.
be.
Donovan McNabb to the Commanders and Drew Bledsoe to the Bills. The only other two times a quarterback has been traded in the division.
You're silly for thinking I could even come up with that. I'd be throwing
I saw
spaghetti at a wall
I saw that
50
from
yards
Shefty
away.
from this when it happened, and I was like, well, that's a cool stat to think about. And my last question to you, it's gonna lead you right into your game breakdown.
Love that.
Was how was the game?
How was the game? Well, I'll tell you right now. Pregame was fun. Pregame was cool. Um, my wife and I we walked down to like the front right by the field. I was within 3 feet of Patrick Graham, which was really cool. Like he was talking to his cousin who was standing like right next to me. It was really cool. I wanted to get a picture, but he didn't give a rip about anybody else but his cousin. He told this little kid next to us that he would take a picture with him after he was done talking, and then he just walked away. so so whether or not that was intentional was still
Poor guy.
funny to me. And then John Spytek, the GM for the Raiders, was within like 20 feet of us as well. Just, I think chatting with his like wife and his kids and stuff. Here's a bad picture of it right there. There's the John Spytek. Uh, but it was fun. I had some interesting takeaways. Maddie was able to get a better feel and understanding for football, being able to see the actual full field, which was good. Because I've been trying to get her to watch football for a while now and actually enjoy it as much as not as much as I do because that's probably not feasible, but at least enjoy the sport. Um, but I think the worst thing about the game, it wasn't even that the Raiders lost. I was sitting in front of the most annoying Colts fan I think of all time. This man was yelling every play. He was just cussing up a storm, saying, "Oh, f this and f that and da 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 da," and he was trying to get these Raiders suck chants going on. Like, dude, buddy, I understand you're whooping up on us right now, but we have won one game, and Geno Smith's thrown 2 interceptions. I don't know what you want from me, man. If there would have been kids around, I probably would have been like, dude, relax. But there wasn't really kids around, so. Now to the actual game. I have some big notes here. Raiders stink. The only bright spots were Genty and Max Crosby. It's because Max Crosby's good at football, and Ashton Genty had some good plays. Um,
Yeah.
I think so. Let me. If you guys don't follow our Twitter, and I know you don't because I'm the only one that follows our Twitter, and maybe Dak as well. Um, I posted on Twitter that this would be the last Raiders breakdown that you have to hear from me of this season. I may watch a game, I may watch the highlights to a game, but until there is a change, I'm not wasting your time or mine talking about them. With that being said, things need to be said, and I'm gonna say them. One, I should have never strayed away from my take that it always takes more than a season for offensive coordinators and head coaches, excuse me, to settle in. With that being said, for the Raiders, because Liam Cohen has gone in and you see where they're at. They're one of the best teams in the AFC. Now that's also because they had a franchise quarterback and a good offense and a
And a
solid,
decent running back.
yeah, a couple decent running backs. And
Oh, and you have one of the rookie of the year finalists last year in Brian Thomas.
yeah, exactly. The Raiders have a
The guys
dysfunctional.
that you selected, over the past few drafts, wind up on another team or dropped or a bust or in jail. Yeah, one, two.
Yeah, or three. Um, so with that being said, I should have never strayed away from that take. Two, I apologize for all my Raiders propaganda. I should have known better.
They're not there yet. They're
I-
not there yet.
I shouldn't have smoked all the hopium that Pete Carroll was dishing out this offseason. Now, with all that being said, I do still think that the Raiders have some bright spots and could make some changes, win a couple more games. They're not touching 10-7. I tell you that much right now. I'm pretty sure that's what I predicted. But I'll tell you this much right now. The Chiefs probably ain't sniffing 13-4 either. So I consider that a win for me. Now to my actual notes from the game. Geno Smith, I don't know what's going on with him, but he needs LASIK or he needs something because that man makes terrible reads of the football field, right? Dante Thornton, all of his interceptions from this game, double coverage. Double coverage with somebody else being wide open. Butterbond naked, open. They could have pitched a little picnic on the field while he was sitting there throwing to somebody else with a different color jersey. Now, with that being said, the Raiders defense also sucked it up, right? The linebackers stink, no coverage, and you know what? They just freaking cut Jermaine Pratt. Who the heck knows why? I certainly don't. It did look like Darian Porter had a decent game. Caillou Blue Kelly sucks at football. Another off-season guy who was supposed to come in and start and be good, he sucks. He was targeted a lot. Let's see who else. Isaiah Palamau, he stinks at football. He can't cover to save his life. I'm pretty sure I watched him sit. Let me get a little extra for you right now. Right, safety, middle of the field. Right, standing here, watching the ball come his way. Cover 3. He's middle zone, corner, running that way, with the receiver. The ball is coming. He's standing there. He ain't moving his feet. He's just standing there. What are we doing here? So yeah, he sucks at football too. Anybody else suck? No, actually, the offensive line was decent. The receivers were decent. I think Dante Thornton needs to be more physical at the catch point. And actually, if he learns how to catch in traffic, he could be a threat because he's 6'5" and runs fast. I think not having Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer did hurt us, but not enough to lose 40-6. Also, kicking a field goal down 40-3 has got to be the softest Charmin super soft tissue paper, toilet paper, whatever the frick move you have to do. Come on, Pete. I don't give a flying frick about point differential. Put some points on the board outside of 3. Run Wildcat for all I care. Have Ashton Genty carry it from the quarterback spot and have Jack Besh freaking block for him. Now, to the Colts side of the ball. What?
I was going to say, I've seen better games in that stadium with high school kids than in the game that was put on the field on Sunday.
New Pal plays in Lucas Oil fairly often, and they're pretty good at football. At least they used to be. I don't know if they still are. Now for the Colts. Colts are a good football team. Jonathan Taylor's still good at football. I do have one take.
Told you.
I do have one take. Now this could be because the Raiders defense, again, stinks. Like they were open often. The Colts were open often because apparently the Raiders don't know how to play zone defense. I've seen better zone defense played in 7-on-7 pickup. I've played better zone defense in 7-on-7 pickup. I've coached 7-on-7 zone coverage better than I saw on Sunday. Now, with all that being said, I don't know my take. My biggest take from this Colts-Raiders game is that Daniel Jones might be a one-read quarterback, right? I took numerous videos. I thought I might be crazy. And I still might be crazy. But I took numerous videos of Daniel Jones watching the field, hike, only looking to this side, hike, only looking to this side, never gets to this side of the field, never gets that side, not even once.
Well, he doesn't always necessarily have to when his receivers are open. He can
That's what I'm saying. So it could be that. It could be that the Raiders defense stunk. It could be that very well. But every time, I would like to think it's not every time. Now, with that being said, if I was able to watch more Colts games, I'd keep my eye on it. But my brother's going to a Colts game, and I'm going to have him watch for me because I know the Cardinals' defense is better than the Raiders. And if he still does it...
Back, frauds, losses to the Colts.
And I also know that Daniel Jones doesn't do well under pressure. I don't care what happens. The Cardinals also get better pressure than the Raiders. So, better pressure and better coverage. I think that the Cardinals could be close. Well, I hope that the Cardinals are closer than the freaking Raiders. That doesn't take much. But those are two things that I'm interested to see about this upcoming week. And I might keep my eye on as well. Is if he looks to the other side of the field and how he does under pressure. Two takes that I will not give up on about Daniel Jones. And he's got a noodle arm. Won't give up on that one either.
The game that I watched, I was only able to really watch one game. I was at work. And then shopping. Um, Sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. But I watched the
Oh.
Bills and Patriots game.
I had one more
And,
thing about the Colts.
ahead.
Everybody touched the freaking football for the Colts. Ashton
Yes.
Doolin had 2 catches for 55 yards. Ashton freaking Doolin hasn't had more than 200 yards receiving in a season. Got a quarter of that against the Raiders. He dang near. Sorry, you can go.
10th of his career receiving yards came against the Raiders. But the first half of the Bills and Patriots game, ball security was a problem. Everybody was dropping it, saying, "Here you go, here you go, here you go." Ramondre Stevenson had, I believe, 2 of them, and then got going in the second half. But I'm still waiting on why Travion Henderson's not playing. I mean, you can't draft a guy and then just keep him at RB3, and then when your RB2 goes down, you're still not giving him reps at least somewhere in there. It just does not make sense to me. Ramondre Stevenson is continuously having fumble problems. Yeah, he's big. Yeah, he's fast. They're throwing Ramondre out on kickoff return. I mean, he's taking those reps from Travion Henderson too. So I don't necessarily really know what's going on. But yeah, after Antonio Gibson went down, Ramondre Stevenson started to turn it up a little bit, and I'm just kind of confused. Josh Allen is human. He made some really, really bad throws late and some questionable ones, but he also just continues to sit in the pocket and make throws. I was watching it. There was one throw where I believe it was Shakir just running over the middle, and there was a linebacker down a corner and kind of covering the higher flat area, and a safety following him. And I mean, it's a triangle, and he's throwing it right on target, and it's just from the sky cam, it looks really, really good. But he didn't do enough. He threw a pick late, and also the last throw of the game. I don't know if he knew where the situation was, if he had timeouts. I mean, you got 8 seconds to go, and you're throwing it in the middle of the field. It's just questionable. And then you're just jogging to the line. It's just I guess you're just giving up at that point. But it was kind of really weird not knowing the situation or even getting it out to the sideline. But Stephon Diggs, revenge game, had 10 catches for 146 yards. Amazing. Just flat out amazing. He found a way to get open. And Drake May is really, really good at football.
I have a thing. We need to stop calling everything a revenge game. You're not the only one who's done it, but Lord have mercy. Stephon Diggs got himself a bag, had career years with the Bills, and asked for a trade and got it. If he wants to be pissy, he can be pissy. But
He wasn't. He was.
I saw him. I saw clips of him eyeballing everybody pregame. Relax, buddy.
Post game, he was talking about his relationship with Josh Allen, and just the years that he had in Buffalo. But he did show his worth and said, "Hey, I'm good."
All this revenge game mumbo jumbo is a bunch of baloney. Now, a revenge game is Baker Mayfield going into Carolina and beating the snot out of them, or Sam Darnold going into Carolina and beating the snot out of them, or Sam Darnold going to New York and beating the snot out of them. Those are revenge games. Those are teams that gave up on those players and said, "You suck."
They gave up on Stephon. They weren't going to give him the money.
Dude, he's like 30 plus years old. I wouldn't give him the money either.
And look what he's doing to their defense.
After a torn ACL, listen, buddy, I'm not taking that either. They're still 4-1. They didn't need him. They got the same with Keon Coleman and Khalil Shakir. Yeah, they just need to put that money.
Kincaid is the dog.
Yeah, so they didn't need it. That's also a lot of drama too.
I believe he's tight end 2 in fantasy football right now, and I believe he's one of the top tight ends in receiving yards right now. Good at football. Finished 20 for 30 or 22 for 30 at 273 passing yards. No touchdowns on the day, but I mean, any time you can go 22 for 30, I feel like it's pretty efficient. And finding a way to complete a pass and find an opening in the defense is continuously what he did all game. And he didn't turn the ball over himself, so that's a plus. And I think the Patriots are again farther ahead of your Raiders at becoming back on track as a football team.
But we beat them, and by the transitive property, we could beat the Bills. So that's all I'm going to say there.
You remember when Ball State could win the national title?
What? No. I remember when we won the
Property,
MAC
you said.
like 4 years ago.
Yeah, but we beat a team that beat this team and beat that team.
Well, I'm talking 1-to-1. I'm not talking domino effect. I'm talking 1-to-1.
Just saying. Ball State beat Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame last year.
That's funny.
Notre Dame.
Well, shoot, maybe they could. Who knows? Chirp, chirp. Anyways, now we're gonna get to our last part of the video, our halftime.
Well, we have two parts. I have some hot takes today.
Okay. Our last main part of the video, which is our power rankings. So once again, we have very similar lists, but this time they differ in the order quite a bit more than last week. So instead of boring you guys and just having the same exact things over and over again, we'll go spot by spot. So let's see, how do we want to do this? How do we want to divvy this up?
I mean,
Okay.
we can both just talk about like why we still think the Bills are at 1.
Yeah,
That's
and then
pretty easy.
I can talk about the Colts, you can talk about the Lions and the Eagles, and then I'll talk about the Packers and Bucks, and then you can talk about the Niners. Cool.
That's fine.
Bills are still good at football. It's like they, even with their defensive problems, they still win games. It's a defensive, not a defensive, it's a divisional game that they lost. Those are always a toss-up. Mike Vrabel isn't a bad coach. This is also a young football team for the Patriots that was bound to kick it in gear at some point. It just so happened to be a day where the Bills weren't at 100%. They weren't rearing to go. They weren't ready. Like we've said in the last 3 weeks, death, taxes, and James Cook touchdowns. What didn't happen? A James Cook touchdown. James Cook didn't touch the ball enough. That's why they lost, but they lost a much more respectable game than the other 4-0 teams that have lost games, or 3-0 teams that have lost games since then. So that's why the Bills are still number 1.
I'll copy off of that or move off of that and just say how bad the Bills really played, and to be in that game, still have a chance to win at the end of the game. Well, not necessarily at the end of the game, but still have a chance to win the game somewhere in there. Speaks volume to where this Bills team is. I think they are the best team in the NFL. And no one's going undefeated. It's just not happening. No one's going 17-0. It's just not. So, in the game full of teams that are good at football, it's not where you're going to have really, really bad teams anymore. You are, but any given Sunday, those teams can win. It's not a very top-heavy league anymore. It's more your bottom feed teams are still just as good as your middle tier teams any given Sunday.
Yeah. So now I have the Colts at number 2. They just continue to win balanced football, and they continue to play good defense. They take away the ball. They apply pressure. They don't do anything crazy. They do what they have to do, and they win football games, but in a more fun way than the Eagles do. Right? The Eagles win football games, and Jalen Hurts throws for 100 yards, and Saquon runs for 77. The Colts do it a little bit differently, where Jonathan Taylor runs for 76, and Daniel Jones still throws the ball quite a bit. It's much more entertaining football. On top of that, they're just more fun to watch, right? When they're not beating the piss out of your own team, they're fun to watch, right? Like, they just have so many weapons, and like, they're running on all cylinders, right? It's just good football. They play good football.
To me, it's like a Goodwill, not a Goodwill, but like a Walmart version of the Bills, right?
I would say Target or Sam's Club.
I'll say Sam's Club version of the Bills. They have talented receivers, not as young, but they're talented, and they also have a good running back. They just don't have a good quarterback like the Bills. But the Colts remind me a lot of the Bills. The problem is for me, the Colts are at 4, um, because I don't think they can go on the road and win tight games. I don't think they can do it. They haven't necessarily done it yet where they've went on the road and won a tight game. They went on the road and played Tennessee. Okay, the first game of the year was at home against the Dolphins. The second game of the year was at home against the Broncos. They haven't been battle tested on the road, and I want to see that before I move them to 2-3 because I know the Eagles can win games on the road. They've done it. They've been to the playoffs and they've won games on the road. I know the Lions can go on the road and win a tough game. Yeah, they didn't do it week 1, but they've won 4 games in a row since. They're a playoff team. They've done it. I have the Colts down at 4 because I want to see production on the road, and we're not going to get that because they're at home versus the Cardinals, and then I think in the next week after that they're also at home.
They're away at the Chargers.
Okay, away at the Chargers. That's going to be the first test that we really see. But they're probably going into that game 5-1. I'm not going to move them down anywhere in 2 weeks from 4 because they're going into that game 5-1. They're sitting at 5-2. That's still a really good record. Just you're going to have the Jags on your tail. I think the Jags could be somewhere on this list. Granted, they're less version of the Colts to me because I don't trust their offense. They don't necessarily have a good run scheme. Their defense is decent. They do what they have to do, but I think a good team is going to carve up that defense that has a lot of options. We don't know. But I'm going to get to 2 on my list, and I have the Lions. Again, the Lions can go and win games on the road. They're the hottest team in football right now. They're won their last 4 games. And after week 1, they've kind of flipped it, and they've scored a lot of points. Their defense was a little questionable to me in the second half, as Jamar Chase was kind of getting behind some safeties and some DBs, and scoring some points after they kind of shut him down the first half. But I think the Lions are proven that they can win. And the Packers were playing out of their mind the first few weeks, and kind of taking a step back. And I think they're in position to, still run away with the division because the Bears' run defense is horrible. And who knows what their offense is going to do. The Vikings, until JJ comes back, we don't really know. And the Packers are on a bye. It's between them and the Packers. And they get to play the Packers at home in Ford Field sometime this end of the season. So I like the Lions at 2.
Yeah, looking up their team stats, they are first ranked in points offensive and number 6 in yards. And then defense, they are 17th and 8th in points and yards, respectively. Same thing that you said about the Lions. I think they have more consistency throughout their team in terms of offense, right? Jahmyr Gibbs is a consistent producer.
And they have a backup in David Montgomery that's just as good.
Exactly. When all else fails, they can run the ball, right? When all else fails, what are the Eagles going to do? The Packers, the Bucks. Those are teams that are under the Lions for me. The Lions have also beaten better teams. They obviously lost to the Packers week 1, but week 1 is a unicorn. They've beaten the Bears, the Ravens, the Browns, and the Bengals. I guess they haven't beaten very good teams, have they? Yeah, all 4 of those teams suck. Huh.
Yeah, but when they beat the Ravens were full force.
Yeah. Well, regardless, they're dropping points on the teams they're supposed to beat, right? It's not like they're having close games. So that's why. Because they're
Eagles are playing short.
Handedly beating the teams that they're supposed to beat.
Like the Colts.
The Eagles are my number 4. They're your number 3. I think the Eagles, looking at the list, could go down even more. For me, they could even be off of it. The Jags have been really good lately. I've been ranting and raving about how the Jags are going to be a surprising team after watching a couple of their games. And then the Eagles have drama, and the Jags don't. So,
I wouldn't say they don't, but not on the field.
yeah, they're winning games and they're having fun doing it, even if Trevor Lawrence looks like a fool. Um, so with that, all that being said, the Eagles are my number 4. They're just they're just good, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
I could be moved off of this pretty easily.
I can help you there. I think, like I was mentioning earlier, the Eagles, they've been winning games, right? And everything is covered up when you're winning games. And so can they continuously find ways to win games and move along and in the offseason figure it out? Or do they continuously lose, and when you lose, everything is shown to light? You can't put a Band-Aid over a loss anymore. You can put a Band-Aid over a cut when you're winning and move on. But it's a big gash. It opens up. You have players wanting the ball all the time. Saquon Barkley touched the ball 9 times last game. You can't do that. You can't do that. He's the best running back in the league. Okay? It's hard for me to say that, but Saquon Barkley last year was the best running back in the league. Hands down. Christian McCaffrey, yes, he's up there. By far, Christian McCaffrey is the best receiving back in the NFL. But production-wise, rushing-wise, Christian may not be as good anymore as what Saquon Barkley can do on the ground with the ball in his hands. Give Saquon Barkley the ball. And if your receivers don't like it, move them on somewhere else. You can't have both your receivers, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, crying about not getting targets, not getting catches. It's selfish. It's horrible. And if you want to win games in the NFL is a game full of wins and losses. And if you want the ball, go to the Browns. Go to the Browns. A.J. Brown, you want to be so upset, go to the Browns. Because Bill Belichick would have done that to you right then and there. He did several players. He sent them straight to the Browns. Remember Dante Hightower, linebacker, spoke out of line, boom. 3 days later, he was traded to the Browns for like a 4th-round pick. You want to speak out, you want this, you'll go places. You can't be wanting the ball, and then when you don't get the ball, cry, and then when you do, your team's losing. It was clear in our faces. Devontae Smith and AJ Brown were jumping on the same ball and jumped over top of each other for a Hail Mary, and the ball wasn't covered because they're jumping over each other. It just can't happen. And if they continue to win and figure it out, oh well, they'll be fine. But if not, this is a bigger deal. It could be bigger than what we think. But that's why they're 3 on my list.
I think we just talked both of ourselves out of them being at our spots.
But again, I think they're still there because they have the talent to win games. They just were the Super Bowl winning champs, and I think they are more proven ready to win than the other 3 teams that are underneath them, and that's the Colts for me, as I talked about. 5, the Buccaneers. They can't play defense. They can't, but they're finding.
Yeah, they have a lot of injuries.
They're finding ways to win, and they might possibly have the MVP on their hands if he can continuously do what he's doing, and definitely the Offensive Rookie of the Year. Because Emeka Egbuka is coming in and just playing like a vet. He is. He's coming in, he's making catches, he's doing what he needs to do, and he's playing by far one of the most electric receivers. And I saw this thing on ESPN the other day, and it was like, Ohio State's receiver coaches don't even have to recruit players. They just throw on tape of NFL guys and go, look, you want to be like these guys? Here you go. Because it just seems like it's just correlating. I mean, the one guy I think that hasn't necessarily has been Chris Olave, and he's just been with injuries. If he wasn't injured so much, he'd be just as good as all the other ones that come out of Ohio State.
Yeah.
But they're 5 for me because they've beaten some good teams. The Seahawks are a great team, and they're finding ways to win, and they're doing it, and they're doing it with resilience in the fourth quarter when it matters the most, and that's big to me.
Yeah. They're my number 6, but it's only because I think the Packers are a better team. The Packers, while they did lose to the Browns and tie with the Cowboys, they're still good. That's the only thing I can come back to with all 6 of these teams is they're good football teams, right?
Yeah.
They all win on more than one way, and they all have some semblance of a solid defense, right? The Buccaneers are the only exception because they're hurt, right? But even then, they're still winning football games, and at the end of the day, that's what matters. You can only beat who is in front of you. And the Buccaneers are doing that, the Packers are doing that, the Eagles are doing that, the Lions are doing that, the Colts are doing that, and so are the Bills, right? They all have their issues.
The Niners did it too.
They're on yours. They're on your team. They're not on mine. The Jags are on my top 6 before the Niners. The thing with all 6 of these teams is they have their issues, but they're winning through their issues, right? So that's why they are my top 6, with the Jags being a super, super duper honorable mention. And if none of these teams get caught slipping this week, then the Jags are going to be on here next week. I'll tell you that much right now.
Yeah, I have the Niners just because, kind of like all the other teams, they're winning. They're winning against the teams that are put in front of them. Yes, they lost to the Jags, and I believe it was on a last-second field goal that they lost to the Jags. And it's a game right after Brock Purdy's coming off an injury. He's not really played. We're hurt everywhere on that team. And it's not necessarily game planned as well as I think is what was game planned this week. And, you're taking on a fully healthy Rams team that just beat the Colts. You're playing a fully healthy squad that has Puka and Devontae Adams and Kyron Williams. And your defense is banged up. You don't have your best pass rusher, Nick Bosa, and you still find a way to win. It's just phenomenal. And you're going to get Brandon Ayuk back in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Hopefully, it's going to bring some help on the receiving end. Kendrick Bourne's playing really, really good. Demarcus Robinson's stepping up when he needs to. And you throw in Ricky P and you throw in Brandon Ayuk out there, George Kittle, the offense is going to get going, and I think it's going to be there, and I think they're still going to be a top team in the NFL, and the division's kind of theirs right now. They're 3-0 in conference play, or in division play. Again, only lost 1 game all year, and I think they're in pretty good shape, and they just find ways to win even when they're not injured. And I think last year was a fluke because Christian McCaffrey was out, and Brock Purdy was out for a while. So you didn't have a backup that could win you games this year, or last year, that you do this year. Mac Jones can win football games.
The Niners did not lose on a last-second field goal. They just didn't score enough points. The Niners were the only team to score in the fourth quarter, and it was 26-21. So the Jags didn't score since the third quarter, late in the third quarter. So it was, the Jags are a good football team, so not really something you can complain about. Okay, so those are our power rankings. Now to our 2-minute warning with our hot takes. Dak, I'll have you start it off. We're about 43 minutes in our pod, so we 2 minutes.
It's not going to be very long today.
Okay.
If the Cowboys make the NFC Championship game, Dak Prescott has a huge case for MVP. And I know I talk about MVP every week, but I will say this. Aaron Rodgers, I'm sorry, but you're not on my MVP candidate list anymore. Okay? I know I was on that for a while, but you're just not there. I have Baker, I have Josh Allen, I have Dak Prescott. Those are my 3 right now. Maybe throw in Aaron Rodgers if he can do something with his arm and continues to play ball. Shedeur Sanders will be a starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns in the next 3 weeks. Just gonna throw that out there. Dylan Gabriel played well.
Is that it?
But it'll be there. Despite the 2-3 record,
I knew better.
The Kansas City Chiefs will finish 10-7, and will make the AFC Championship game. It's just the AFC is not as good as the NFC, and they'll find their way in, and they'll probably play the Colts or probably play the Jags, and they'll find a way to do it in the playoffs, and they'll make the AFC Championship game. The Niners will win the NFC West. It's just boom, right there. Hot take. NFC West is the Niners.
Oh, is that it?
Go ahead.
Is that it?
Yeah, I didn't have the rights today.
All right. Let's see. What do I have? Mike McDaniel's going to be fired by week 7.
Oh yeah. Week 7. Okay.
I think Callahan for the Titans. If they don't beat the Raiders, he's on his way out as well. I don't know how hot those takes are. Here's another one. Geno Smith. If he keeps throwing interceptions by the time Aiden O'Connell is back, Aiden O'Connell is going to be our starter by the end of the year. Because it better not be Kenny Pickett. Let's see. I think Ashton Genty still has a case for Offensive Rookie of the Year if he can kick it in gear.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a uphill battle, a steep uphill battle. And I still think the Jags can win the AFC South. I said it a couple weeks ago, and I'm going to say it again, especially now. I have yet to be proven wrong. They just beat the Chiefs. They beat the Niners at home. Those are two teams that are, well, the Niners are 4-1. They're the only team to beat the 49ers. So,
Right.
those are my hot takes. Those are your hot takes. Let's wrap this video up. With all that being said, everything that we've said wrapped into a little nice, cute video. Cute. I didn't like that. Didn't like that at all. Wrapped up into a nice little 46-minute video. I hope you guys all enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe, click, comment, like, subscribe, comment, share, and let us know down below if you think we're idiots, if you think we're big brain geniuses, or just let us know your own takes. Don't forget to follow us on all the stuff down below, whether it be YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, X. We don't have a Facebook page because we're not old. I'm kind of old, but not that old.
Unk right there, guys.
I'm not.
Unk.
No, relax, buddy. Relax.
Unk.
Says the dude. You look like a frat boy. Shut up. All that being said, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and don't forget to now you know ball. That sucked, but see you guys next week.